The studio lights glowed against the polished stage as Kelly Clarkson walked out with her signature smile, the crowd cheering with excitement. Today's guest had been advertised all week, country superstar Jason Aldean. Fans expected laughter, music, and a heartfelt interview. What they didn't expect was the storm that was about to unfold. Jason walked onto the stage with confident strides, tipping his hat slightly as the audience roared. Kelly greeted him warmly, but sharp eyes could sense a subtle tension. Jason had recently been in the headlines for controversial statements, and rumors suggested Kelly planned to address them head-on. They started light: tour life, family, his new album. But within minutes, Kelly's tone shifted. She leaned in and asked a pointed question about a recent performance that sparked nationwide debate. The audience fell quiet. Jason's jaw tightened. He leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing just slightly. "I stand by my song," Jason responded firmly. "I won't apologize for telling the truth." Kelly nodded slowly, but her smile faded. "Truth is powerful," she replied, "but don't you think artists have a responsibility to bring people together, not divide them?" A murmur swept through the audience. Jason turned slightly in his chair. "Kelly," he said calmly but intensely, "I'm not here to play politics. I'm here because people are tired of being told what they're allowed to feel." The crowd reacted, some clapped, some gasped. The temperature in the room had changed. And the real interview was only just beginning. Kelly shifted in her seat, maintaining composure, but Jason could see the shift in her posture. This was no longer a friendly chat. She brought up specific lyrics from his recent single, suggesting they had stirred division among viewers. Jason, leaning forward now, met her eye without flinching. "Division happens when people stop listening," he said, voice steady. "I write what my fans live. These aren't just lyrics, they're their lives." Kelly nodded, but her tone sharpened. "But when millions watch and follow you, don't you believe your words carry consequences?" Jason paused for a moment. The audience held its breath. Then he said, "Everything in this world has consequences, Kelly. Including silence." The crowd murmured in agreement, but Kelly wasn't backing down. She shifted the conversation toward media backlash and public responsibility. Jason, clearly growing frustrated, removed his hat and ran a hand through his hair. "This isn't about backlash," he countered. "This is about people in real towns, with real struggles, who are tired of being overlooked." Kelly crossed her arms gently, still poised, but the air between them had become electric. Even the cameramen seemed unsure whether to zoom in or brace for commercial. Jason's voice deepened a notch as he added, "I won't be lectured on compassion when my songs feed families and bring people hope." A few claps erupted, then silence. Everyone sensed it. This was no longer an interview. It was a standoff. Kelly's expression remained professional, but her questions became more direct, pushing Jason to clarify statements that had been circulating online. She referenced a viral clip where Jason appeared to criticize fellow artists. The audience leaned forward. Jason's eyes flashed. "That clip was taken out of context," he said firmly. "And you know it." Kelly raised an eyebrow. "Then say it now, clearly. What did you mean?" Jason's patience snapped. He stood up just slightly from his chair, not enough to leave, but enough to change the energy. "I'm done explaining myself to people who twist my words." The audience gasped. Kelly tried to diffuse the tension. "Jason, this show is a platform for clarity. Your fans want to hear your heart." "My heart," he repeated, incredulous. "My heart is with the people who show up every night, singing every word. Not with critics who've never stepped foot in my world." Kelly attempted to steer the show back to neutral ground, but Jason had already reached his limit. He placed his hat back on, his expression resolute. The studio fell so silent, even the sound of a camera repositioning echoed. "Kelly," he said quietly but powerfully, "if this is just another trial, I'm not interested in defending myself." The crowd erupted, some cheering, some booing. Jason rose from his seat. The hosts exchanged stunned glances. It was clear, he was either going to walk, or say something that couldn't be taken back. As Jason stood, the energy in the room shifted from tension to shock. Kelly reached out a hand lightly toward him, not to stop him, but to settle the moment. "Jason," she said calmly, "you have every right to your voice. But walking away won't help people understand it." He paused mid-step, turning slightly toward her. For a moment, the anger in his eyes softened. But then a shout from the audience, "Stand your ground, Jason," ignited the flame again. He shook his head slowly. "I won't be part of a narrative that paints me as the villain." Kelly, carefully composed, responded, "Nobody's painting you as anything. You were invited here to be heard." Jason looked out at the audience, at faces full of expectation, judgment, and loyalty. He tipped his hat again, a gesture of finality. "You heard me," he said. "That's enough." With that, Jason walked off the stage. The audience erupted, half the room cheering in support, the other half in disbelief. Kelly remained seated, professional yet visibly stunned. Cameras captured her steady breath as she turned back to the viewers at home. "We'll be right back," she said, as the show cut abruptly to commercial. Backstage, whispers flew. Was he coming back? Would the segment be aired? Millions watching at home were already posting on social media. The storm had officially gone viral. When the show returned, Kelly sat alone on the stage, hands clasped gently. She kept her voice calm and composed. "Conversations can be difficult," she began. "But they are essential." Today's exchange wasn't about winning, it was about listening. Behind the scenes, Jason was seen leaving the studio, declining interviews. His team remained tight-lipped, but online reactions exploded within minutes. Clips of his walk-off hit every major platform. Hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag Jason walks off. Hashtag Kelly vs Jason. Hashtag speech freedom. Fans gathered in two camps, those praising Jason for standing firm, and those criticizing him for abandoning the conversation. Meanwhile, ticket sales for his tour surged by the hour. Controversy had ignited attention. Kelly addressed viewers directly. "Jason is a remarkable artist. We may disagree on how messages are received, but we respect each other's passion." She smiled gently, signaling that the show would continue with dignity. But even as the next guest was introduced, the atmosphere had changed. The world had seen the clash, and it had left a mark. By evening, media outlets began releasing statements. Jason's representatives claimed he was tired of media framing. Kelly's producers defended the interview as standard journalistic responsibility. One thing was clear, this wasn't just a walk-off. It was the spark of something much bigger, a cultural moment that would fuel conversations around music, influence, and the power of standing your ground.